Hi, FWIS 100. I'm Dr. Heather Neal. I'm going to be your instructor this semester. And this is my daughter, Anne. And I wanted to show her to you because I'll be talking about her probably quite a bit this semester as we study children's literature. Becoming a parent has changed my relationship with these texts. And as we go through the semester, you're going to discover that your own childhood has a deep inflection on the way that you read them. And anyway, so I just wanted to introduce her to you for a moment. In a few minutes, Dr. Kyung-hee Bae is going to go over the core syllabus with you and make sure that you understand the major policies. But before she does that, I just wanted to take a moment to greet you. I'm sorry that I can't be there in person today. I had some travel commitments, but I will be there next week. One note on the course website, which will be hosting many of the readings that we'll be doing this semester, you will have noticed if you have logged in that it is actually not set up yet. This is because of some technical difficulties that we had with getting me into the university system, so I actually have not had access to the course website myself. However, that should be getting set up very soon. I will at least have it published with next week's readings on it within the next couple of days. Now, before I sign off, I did want to go ahead and give you just a little taste of what we're going to be doing with children's literature this semester. When many people who have never made a formal study of children's literature think about these texts, they tend to think of things that are stories that are very simple, very easy to read, and appropriate only for very young minds, right? Very untrained kinds of minds. And certainly in many ways this is true. When you pick up an average children's book, it is easy to read. The story is simple to follow. But what you find when you take these texts and you begin to peel back the layers, so to speak, is that they're actually much more complex than they appear to be on the surface. And in fact, they do things that are unique to them. No other form of literature works in exactly the way that children's literature texts do. So I wanted to go ahead actually and expose you to just one of these books. This is a picture book. It is a relic of my own childhood. It was one of my favorite stories. As you can see, it's a little bit battered. The title is The Little Mouse, the Red Ripe Strawberry, and the Big Hungry Bear. So I'm going to read you this story, and then I'm going to talk just a little bit about what's going on in this book and give you kind of a taste of the way that we'll be approaching texts this semester. Hello, little mouse. What are you doing? Oh, I see. Are you going to pick that red, ripe strawberry? But, little mouse, haven't you heard about the big, hungry bear? Oh, how that bear loves red, ripe strawberries. The big hungry bear can smell a red ripe strawberry a mile away, especially one that has just been picked. Boom, boom, boom. The bear will tromp through the forest on his big hungry feet and sniff, 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 find the strawberry. No matter where it is hidden or who is guarding it or how it is disguised. Quick! There's only one way in the whole wide world to save a big red strawberry from the big hungry bear. Cut it in two, share half with me, and we'll both eat it all up. Yum. Now, that's one red ripe strawberry that the big hungry bear will never get. The end. Okay, so as you can see, it's this very silly, delightful tale intended really for quite young children, right? Maybe as young as 2 or 3 years old. And on the surface, we indeed have this extremely simple narrative. There's a little mouse, he has a strawberry, he is warned by this narrator person that there's a dangerous bear who would like to steal his strawberry from him, and the little mouse goes through various attempts to protect his strawberry and ultimately protects it by eating it all up and sharing it with the narrator, right? That's what we would call the surface text, a very simple, straightforward story. However, that's only the first layer of meaning in this, right? Next, we have what I would call the obvious subtext. And if the surface narrative is intended probably for young child readers, then we would say that this subtext is intended for older, more sophisticated readers, perhaps the adult who is reading the book to the child, or perhaps an older child who can read the book for him or herself. But of course, this subtext is that there is no big hungry bear, right? The bear is the invention of the narrator who is coveting the mouse's strawberry and who wants to get half of the strawberry for him or herself. So we have underneath the surface level of this very simple narrative, this joke, right? The mouse is being taken advantage of by the narrator and cheated out of half of his strawberry. Okay, so that's 2 layers of meaning so far, right? Both of which I think are fairly obvious, although I won't tell you how old I was before I finally figured out that there actually was no big hungry bear. However, if we go even deeper, things begin to get really quite interesting, because in children's literature, there are child characters. There are always child characters in some form or another. And while sometimes these are actual children, frequently children are represented by animals, as they are in this book. And so the little mouse, in his naivete and in his sort of trusting nature, is in fact representative of a child, and the narrator is an adult voice. And so what we have, right, is not just a little mouse being duped out of part of his strawberry, but a child who is being taken advantage of by an adult. And then if we take a step back from the book and we think about the fact that this is a picture book, it is primarily intended for very young readers, we come to realize, right, that the mouse in the book is the child auditor, the child who is listening to this story, and the narrator, the actual voice who is being duplicitous, is the adult who is reading the story. So in fact, this children's text is encouraging the adult to take advantage of the child. And although, right, the child doesn't have an actual strawberry that the adult is trying to steal, the child is naive. The child may believe in the big hungry bear, and the book encourages the adult to enjoy the joke, right, which is at the child's expense. Then there's kind of one more level to which we can take our interpretation of the story. So in the first place, right, we have the surface text that is simply the story of the mouse trying to protect his strawberry. On the second level, we have the subtext, or the joke, right, that their narrator has invented the big hungry bear to get the strawberry for himself. In the third place, we have this idea that the adult reader of the book is in fact taking advantage of the child listener of the book. But then there is this fourth aspect, right, which is that the book cannot control who understands what, right? There's no way to guarantee that the child will only understand that simple surface text, and there's no way also to guarantee that the adult will perhaps participate only in the subtext, or will in fact seek to exploit the child to whom he is reading and enjoy the child's belief in the big hungry bear when the adult knows better. Instead, right, what happens is the text, that subtext about the falsity of the narrator and the bear could in fact be understood by a child, and it could be explained to the child by the adult who is reading them the book. So rather than being a book that takes advantage of a child's naivete, it may in fact be a book that introduces children to the idea of lying or of being duplicitous in order to gain some kind of advantage for yourself. All right, I think I have talked long enough, but I just wanted to give you an example of how a very, very simple children's literature text can be unpacked, right, in all these different ways and all these different levels of meaning. I hope that has whet your appetite for what's to come this semester, and I hope that you'll have a very good first week here at Rice University. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.